And this is showing our audience for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then myself for Ruth Ann's speech today. Okay.
Hi. Have you ever known anyone and thought that they lived like a fairy tale life? We all know that that's not real. That's not possible. No such thing. There are some times, however, that people have told me that they ought to make parts of my life into a movie. So let me tell you about myself. My name is Ruth Ann Rickey, and I'm going to tell you mostly chronologically about my life and how it shaped me into who I am and what drives me. We're going to go through 3 stages of my life: who I was, who I am, and who I want to be, or who I'm going to be. Let's start with who I was. I grew up in a small town in southeast Texas, about 30 minutes from the Gulf of Mexico. And when I say it was a small town, I mean small. We finally got a traffic light a couple of years before I married and moved to Oklahoma. But now they have a couple dollar stores. They have Sonic. They even have 2 traffic lights now. We had a junior high and an elementary school, but we had to consolidate with another high school to have a high school. It was that small. And I was raised by my father by himself, and he was it was just us. He was a disc jockey. But I never really thought of myself as anything. It was, just kind of there, stuck in a Podunk Junction, go nowhere town. But that's all right. But let me shift to who I am now. I'm a 37-year-old wife, mother, and grandmother. I have 4 children, 3 girls, 20, 18, 16, and a 13-year-old boy. Additionally, I have a 4-month-old grandson. I met my husband back in the 90s. He picked me up on the side of the road in his big truck. 2 weeks to the day later, we got married. Even after all these years, we still have fun together. We not only love each other, we're in love with each other. We like to do stuff together as a family. We like to go to the movies, go to Thunder basketball games, go on little weekend getaways, just to go have fun. And this really objectionable, especially in light of the recent tragedies. But our family loves to storm chase together. We have so much fun doing it. I've had all kinds of jobs. I've worked in the medical field, worked in schools, transportation, sanitation, hospitality, even construction. I currently work for the corporate office of an Oklahoma-owned and operated Tex-Mex fast food chain. Maybe you've heard of it, Taco Mayo. I love my job. Love my job. And I truly care about the people I work with. My official title is payroll supervisor, but like most jobs, it doesn't just stop there. I do more of a human resources. I deal with the unemployment office, workman's comp. I deal with legal, work with legal stuff. And then I also do the payroll for all 31 corporate-owned locations, which is about 400 employees. I want to do more for myself and for my family than that. I want to do something. And that brings me to who I want to be. I need to backtrack slightly for you to understand it to its entirety. My daddy died almost a year ago. I'm so grateful that I was there with him when it happened, and when he took his last breath, I was there, and I was holding his hand. His primary care physician dropped the ball and infrequently was monitoring a life-threatening condition that ultimately did him in. But he was in the ICU for a little while too, and while he was in there, I felt like they just thought that they had an endless supply of time. Now, remember, I told you I worked in the medical field. Let me kind of go into that just a little bit. Let me elaborate. About 7 years ago, I went to nursing school. I held several certifications, and I've also worked home health, and I worked in an Oklahoma City hospital. So I have, when I say I worked in the medical field, I knew what I was talking about. I knew what was going on. They didn't do what they were supposed to. They even went as far as to lie in the medical records and in the charts saying that I withdrew care when I didn't. They did. And that is what is pushing me to be who I want to be. Excuse me. I realized how I craved and desired justice for what happened. They need to be held accountable for their actions, which is what's pushing me and driving me to want to become an attorney. I want justice. I want to pursue justice. I want to continue my education. And I realize that it's not necessarily going to be glamorous like it is on television. Nevertheless, right is right and wrong is wrong. And I want to be a part of justice with integrity. To briefly sum it up, I grew up an only child reared by my father, of a wonderful family that includes an amazing husband, 4 children, and 1 grandchild. And I'm going to be an attorney so I can help others who've been wronged, who feel like they've been wronged, to find the justice that they desire. Thank you.